Okay, so the last time I said I would look at the last time I said I would look at Fraktur, I told you that I would look at these variations. So I'm using a Zig Calligraphy 2 marker, and I'll use a Zig Calligraphy scroll and brush a little later on. I opted to use the marker because it's a little bit easier to do what I'm planning to do. I've left 7 nib widths. I'm actually making the majuscules a little bit shorter than they should be. Now, the principal shape that you find for the Fraktur majuscules is this shape. So I'm only going to do one letter. And for a long time, this shape really confounded me because I could never get this curve right. I always thought the curve was sort of like this, and then the letter does this, and it does that, and it does this. Well, the problem with that is if you are thinking of a full circle here, and then the letter here, what happens is the axis of the letter looks like it's leaning. In order to keep the axis upright, and of course remember Fraktur is not a tilting script, it's a vertical script, so you have to keep it upright. In order to keep the axis upright, what you have to end up doing is using a smaller circle. And by using that smaller circle, you get this shape, which allows you to stay upright, and then you come out and down and you keep the shape upright. Now, you could aim for a slightly bigger curve, but that depends on what's happening here. So, excuse me. So this is where the variations really start to come into play. You have to first of all know the majuscules. The second thing you have to work out is what are you planning to do here, here, and here. So if we rewrite these, and let's take a little square there, and a circle here. And you know, if you're just starting off, I would always draw this vertical line in because it really does give you a sense of what you're aiming for. And we're starting here, we come around, we go up, keep it vertical, and you can either do this, or this, or that, or that. So that tells you that there are 4 aspects here. So we can have this. So this is coming all the way down. We can have a small one, which is just in the top half. And you could even add that in. So you see we completely changed the base by changing which stroke we're using here. So I've made a larger version of this. Or you could make a nice big curve. And this is reasonably flat. So quite a number of variations. Sorry, this is a little bit tilting. Quite a number of variations by just altering some very simple things. The other way to add a variation is to do this. So we have the curve, and then you have this shape, which is a very typical Germanic shape in Fraktur. And then we have, instead of using a curve, we use I would probably refer to this as an S-curve. Remember, the aim here is to keep the shape upright. So we have some space there. So you can actually do this, and that, and that, and this, and that. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So instead of one or the other, we have both of them. Now, this is a really important aspect for Fraktur because it allows us to produce a flattened shape. And I'm not really sticking to the rules of the X height here because I'm trying to fit all of this onto one page. We can elongate this. We can add that in if we like. Or we can have this, as you can see, this angle can change. So we can have it at a, let's say we have it at 45 degrees. And this shape is really, really important, especially when it moves on to other types of decorative Fraktur. And this is why I decided to use a marker for this. So you can have a lengthened shape. I'm going to come out onto the corner, back up and tilt. And then I'm going to add the rest of the letter there. So this is a really typical kind of Fraktur flourishing. You can also have an elongated shape where the flourish, so this is an extended flourish, where the flourish is actually an appended flourish. So the flourish here is added on. I mean, it's a little bit sloppy, but I'm feeling a little bit tight here. I actually prefer to have a little bit more space to do this kind of thing. And then, of course, the shapes can change, can alter again. Now, we can even have an extended flourish here. So you see, I'm actually extending from the shape, the existing shape, as opposed to adding something or adding an appendage or an appended flourish. Then you have, so these are more complex variations now. And this can also come out. You could even make this as the basic stem. And we could aim to do this slightly more upright. And so I'm using some Fraktur minuscule construction to create the base of the bee. So we also have sort of additional things like this. So I'm using quite a lot of twisting and turning, a fair deal of pen manipulation. And this is a great little thing that we can play with, you know, if we fiddle around with this a little bit, we can bring this out of here and we can add that there.